I'll be happy to take any questions, and I may defer a few questions to whether it be Senator Rogers or Representative Ramsey, depending on the question.
You
Yes,
guys
ma'am.
obviously are at a budget hole. Three questions.
Sure.
When does this kick in? How much does it cost? How are you going to pay for it?
Sure. Great questions. We'll hear those a lot, I'm sure, over the next several weeks. First of all, when does it kick in? Each of these components phase in at various times as far as their impact on the state, but all of them begin immediately as far as enabling investors, enabling job creation, business startup, tax credits. But when they actually occur on a person's tax return, phases in over time depending on their own filings. What does it cost the state? That was your second question, I believe. And there's where we want to change the debate a little bit, because we don't see this as a cost to the state. We see this as a savings to the taxpayer.
Certainly a loss of revenue to the state.
It's revenue that is not there at this point.
So you don't have a fiscal note. You don't know how much this will cost.
There will be fiscal notes provided. We had fiscal notes last year.
Today, you don't have a sense of how much this will cost.
Well, we know, for example, say probably the one that's most immediately impacted would be the business startup fee holiday. Based on historical knowledge of how many businesses have applied, you may have from $5 to $8 million worth of fees waived for new businesses starting up. So you have to ask the question, is that new business worth it? We think it is.
You said you met with the governor, you talked about last year, there's those who say if it had passed last year, we would be even deeper in the hole. What has changed? What's different this year from last year?
Well, the biggest change that's occurred, there are tens of thousands of Georgians that are out of work right now, in addition to what we experienced last year.
In regards to the state budget, how can it afford it this year?
Again, it's not about affordability. It's about providing jobs for Georgians and creating that environment of economic development in our state. So, as to your...
From the governor's point of view, you said you met with him, and Mr. Rogers said that, you're kind of on the same
Right.
page.
Well, basically at the end of the process last year, there were some major changes in the legislation, and there was a lot of question about the fiscal impact and the studies that were done, and there, quite frankly, wasn't enough time for the researchers to conduct the studies. We've had a lot of discussion since then, and there's certainly a different comfort level today.
If I could address a little bit about that. For example, the year for Georgia entrepreneurs, okay, so we're taking in anywhere from $5 to $8 million, but just imagine if one of these small businesses that is simply in somebody's head right now becomes a major success. And the reason they started it was because they didn't have to go to the state first and pay a $300 or $400 fee. If only one of them becomes a success, that's probably going to be worth at least $5 million to the state. You look at the angel investor tax credit. What these other states have been able to do is take and leverage those investment dollars into multi-millions of dollars of wealth that is created. So we've capped this. I believe the cap is going to start at $10 million. So let's say we had a $10 million worth of tax credits given out. You have to have job creation to even get the tax credits to begin with. So, I mean, the economic generator for that is far beyond what the tax credit may be. Take, for example, the $2,400 employee tax credit. I mean, think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about hiring someone who's been unemployed for 4 weeks or more. We're talking about ensuring that that person is now employed for at least 24 months at a wage 180% above poverty level. So now they're paying income taxes. Now they're paying sales taxes. All of that goes into the state's coffers immediately, and then 2 years down the road, you may have a tax credit that goes along with that. We think that's good public policy. Let's get the state working again. Let's get these people employed again. That will have a positive impact not only on all of Georgia, most importantly the Georgians it employs, but it will also have an immediate impact on our state budget in a positive way.
What is the trigger mechanism we have? How would that work? That seems to me to be the biggest thing that's different from last year. Is that something that would tend to make the governor more comfortable with?
You're right. That is the major difference in this legislation. In addition to the angel investor tax credit, the trigger that we have will be introduced on Monday, or first read Monday, and this is again the beginning point where we start the discussion. Is that the rainy day fund, the reserve fund, be at a point of $500 million, and then the capital gains begins cutting back from there.
Is that something that you feel like would be more likely to get support from the governor, who's saying we talked about vetoes this last year?
You would have to talk to he or his staff on that.
So the main differences are that angel tax and the trigger on capital gains.
Those are the main differences, as well as we separated out the phasing out of the sales tax deposit.
And I think we also, on the $2,400 tax credit, we tightened up the definition of who can be, what type of unemployed person would qualify to receive, or the business would qualify to receive those benefits.
Tom, with all these ideas, of course, you do have a reduction in state revenues, and you are constitutionally obligated to balance the budget. Have you mapped out or decided where you'd like some spending cuts made to make up for the reductions in revenue?
We will not be identifying any specific spending cuts, but instead what we've proposed is just putting in a line item in the budget that would account for these items.
If I could try to answer the question, you know, you can't collect tax from somebody who's not employed. I mean, what we're trying to do is employ people so they can pay taxes rather than being on the public dole. And we're not giving the credit until they've been hired for 2 years. So we think we're going to actually generate revenue to the budget, not lose revenue.
And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The reason we're in the problem we are now with our budget is because too many people are unemployed. So if we know that revenues are declining because people aren't at work, let's put them back to work, and guess what's going to happen to state revenues? They're going to go up. People that are making money pay taxes. People that are sitting home unemployed don't pay taxes. That's what this does.
Last year, the capital gains was attached to the jobs bill, and that seems to be the reason it was killed. Is that the reason you pulled them apart this year, in case one passes, the reason you did that?
No, the capital gains is a part of the major package in this year as well.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, but it's-
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
One of the big philosophical debates this last year was, should the state be doing this when the state has to balance the budget? Federal government doesn't. They do all this kind of stuff. You heard the president. He's got initiatives he talked about to help small businesses last night. What do you guys think of that? One, and is there a role for the state as well?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, we have 12-month track record that the federal government's approach isn't working. So we're going to take the approach that does work, and that is you reduce the taxes and the burdens and the barriers to creation of jobs. And we're committed to doing that. And as a result, I mean, Georgia will be the leader and the economic beacon for the rest of the country. And other states have already contacted us saying, what are you doing? Because that's exactly what we need to be doing in our own state.
And I don't think we can overstate the importance of encouraging investment in Georgia. If you go talk to small business owners today, typically the answers were, what does government do to hurt us? It's taxation, regulation, litigation. There's a fourth component to that now, and is the access to capital. And if small business doesn't get the lifeblood of access to capital, we're going to be in this problem again next year. That's why we've got to encourage investors to come into our state and provide that capital. Because when small businesses have money to work with, they pay people, and business gets done. When they don't have money, everything tends to dry up.
So the beginning of these, the front end of these would begin to kick in fiscal year 2011, at least some of them would, is that right?
That's right. They would all be implemented. You know, some of them may begin at certain dates, whether it be July 1st of 2010, but the fiscal impact will phase in at various times. But and as I close, I just want to say our goal here is to get Georgians back to work. That is the #1 goal. And we have a few choices. I mean, first of all, I'll be the first to tell you that we're going to get through these challenging days. There is no doubt about that. We have the creativity, the entrepreneurial spirit. We have so many great things here in the state of Georgia. But the question is, are we going to wait? Are we going to put policy in place that prolongs that, such as we see on the federal level? Or are we going to do things that speed it up a little bit? We're choosing the path of speeding it up a little bit. Thank you all for being here, and I look forward to seeing you more over the next couple of weeks.